Hello and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Sophia Lucia Parola, your host with Garden State Film Festival. This year, from March 21st through March 24th, you can check out the 22nd annual Garden State Film Festival. We have over 200 films this year from 14 different countries, and you can check out any of these films across 8 venues in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and Cranford, New Jersey, all different types of films. We have a very amazing, diverse, really creative lineup this year. And one of the films you can check out is a documentary short called Save the First Child. This is such a beautiful documentary, and I am honored to be here with some of the people, who are involved in making it. I'll have them introduce themselves, but hello. Thank you for joining me, and congratulations on your acceptance into Garden State Film Festival.
Yes, Sophia, thank you so much. It's an honor, and we're grateful for this interview. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sophia. This is great. Beautiful
Oh,
intro, by the way.
thank you. Thank you. Oh, wow, guys. You're giving me a big head. Thank you. It's an honor to be able to talk to you guys. And I'm so happy that Save the First Child is in the lineup this year. It is such, as I just said, it's just a beautiful documentary with a huge mission, and it's really important. So let's get right into it. But before we talk about the film and everything about it, can you both introduce yourselves and the titles and who you are?
Sure. Thank you. So my name is Jim Raffone. I'm the founder of Jar of Hope. And this film is dedicated to all the children who live and have passed from Duchenne muscular dystrophy, which is a terminal muscle wasting disease. And my part in this film is I'm one of the fellas who climbed to base camp at Mount Everest with my team. And I was fortunate enough to be able to produce, direct, and star, if you will, in this film with a great group of guys who came up there with me.
Thank you, Jim. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Ryan, who are you?
I'm Ryan. Thank you so much for having us again. Yeah, this is really exciting. So I'm Ryan Richardson, and with Jar of Hope, creating with them and telling their story around the world. Projects not so unlike this one for about 10 years. So it's really great to see this one get some traction and be in this film festival because we're really excited to share it. But in the role, basically in the film, I wrote and I helped our filmmaker, Pete was down there in Everest where he was shooting, and this a little bit, but I was at home on the back end distributing.
Wow. Yeah, we'll definitely get into that. But I mean, the first thing I would love to talk about is Jim, when did you found Jar of Hope, and then when did you guys decide to make Save the First Child? What was that process?
Ooh. So, Jar of Hope started. My son was diagnosed in September of 2013, and the charity started almost immediately after that when we went to a geneticist and we were told that to go home and love your son. There's nothing you or I can do to save his life. And that didn't sit well with me. So we really hit the ground running and started the charity. But the whole process really started from day one. And as Ryan had made mention, Ryan has been with me for years filming us, and he's a magnificent editor. He deserves a lot of credit for that, especially on this film. He edited the film. And it was a culmination of approximately 8 or 9 years coming together at this point. But the decision to climb Mount Everest was a spontaneous one, which led us to the base camp with just about 45 days of planning. The unfortunate situation was a very near and dear friend of mine and also to the foundation. His name was Richie Delano. He unfortunately passed away from COVID on Christmas Day of 2021. And the story is, unfortunately, we used to have a very successful poker tournament in his family's honor. And unfortunately, I didn't think it was in good taste to do it in February, which is typically the weekend in between the NFL championship game and then the Super Bowl. We have, because that's a Sunday with nothing going on, we figured we would gather guys together on that Sunday afternoon and host a poker tournament. And it was widely successful. I mean, it was just remarkable the amount of money we would raise for children with Duchenne. but I didn't think we should do that. I think it was a choice that I made to mourn his loss and be respectful to the family. So we took that Sunday off from the poker tournament. But at the same time, I have an obligation to these children in the Duchenne community and my son to continue to raise funds to try and find a cure for this disease. We have a clinical trial that we were given permission by the FDA to go through with at the University of Florida. So we need to raise a couple of $1 million. So I thought, right quick, what do I do to make up for those loss of funds that we're not going to be getting in during that poker tournament? And I racked my brains, and the only thing I could possibly think of that would be able to match what we would do at that poker tournament was to climb Everest. So I have this thing that I do, and if I reach out to a certain few people and their eyebrows raise and they go, Jim, no, don't do that, I know that's the thing I need to do. And that's really what happened. And everybody who I immediately talked with said, no, there's no reason for you to go do that. But it's every reason in the world to go do that, because Jerry Carino back in 2014 dubbed me a desperate father. And basically that's what I am. I'm desperate to save my son's life and find a cure for this disease, because I don't want any other families to go through what my wife and I go through on a daily basis, seeing my son in this condition. Nobody should be doing this. So it was my plan. And then I started to let some friends know little by little. And immediately, I could just hear thinking about immediately Joe Russo, who's a near and dear friend of ours and the charity as well. He said, Jim, you're not going alone. You know, going to Mount Everest is quite dangerous. And actually, when I confided in my son, I shared with him, I said, I'm going to go to Mount Everest for you. And the first thing he did was look at me and said, people die up there, Dad. And I was blown away that he even knew that, because in 2022, he was only maybe 13, going to be 14. And I was blown away by that. But he then understood the significance about what I was going to do. And when Joe Russo told me, you're not going alone, I said, Joe, I can't ask you to come because it is a dangerous trip, but you're more than welcome to come with me. And then another father in the Duchenne community jumped up and said, Jim, if you're going to go do it, I got to go with you, which was remarkable. And now Joe Russo, just to be clear, Joe Russo is a Marine, a former Marine. So I knew, and he's a lot younger than I am, that he could take care of himself. Dylan Doeden, who was the other dad from Nebraska, he too was a U.S. military retired. So I knew he could take care of himself. And he's probably 20 years younger than me. And then another father from the New Jersey area, who I did not know, reached out to me. Initially, I didn't want him to come because I didn't know him personally, but we then got to know each other over a few days. And he then told me about his training and what he does. And I knew he would then be fit to go and do it. So at this point, I'm the oldest and I'm probably the worst in shape. So everybody had to then worry about me instead of me worrying about them. And that's really how the trip came about. We had 45 days to prepare for it. Everybody had their role to get us up to base camp and back down safe and sound. And my team was just remarkable.
Wow. I mean, first off, I'm extremely sorry for your loss when it came to Richard and the charity's loss. And I think your willpower is just amazing. Going from this annual poker tournament to climbing Mount Everest is truly remarkable. So how many men were in total coming on the trip?
So there was myself and 3 of the climbers. And then, well, I can't say the videographer, Pete, was not a climber because he probably did the trip twice as much as us, because he was filming us from behind and then running past us to get shots of us coming towards him. So, he was remarkable himself. So it was the 5 of us. And then we had a guide and then a couple of Sherpas. And our guide was just remarkable. The Sherpas were remarkable. The community in Nepal was remarkable, the way they treated us. It was just fantastic. It was just an amazing trip.
You see all that in the documentary. So Pete, who directed this, also, he was the DP as well?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Ryan, I mean, what were your thoughts when you heard they were going on this trip? And what was this process for you producing this and helping writing and working on this all remotely, not being on this trip?
So when Jim said that he reaches out to a group of people to see if something's a good idea or a bad idea, and then he gets a bit of a frown from some people and say, "That's crazy. I don't know if we should do that." That's definitely not me. When he reaches out to me and says, "Hey man, we should do this. Does this sound like something we should do?" Just about 100% of the time, I'm like fully behind him. Like that sounds like definitely something that we should get behind. So he reached out to me and said, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And I said, "Hey, it's an amazing idea." We were discussing about how we could get more traction during the event, and one of the ways that we came up with that is to create as much short, micro content, if you will, for the social media channels to distribute as much as possible as it's happening, so that we can invite the community in with us, and they could be a part of that. We had a live tracker so they could see where they were every day. We were updating with photos and captions and posts, and Pete would actually upload files, and then he would embed in the metadata behind the images what is actually going on, so that we could share and everyone could be a part of it in real time. So we just found that inviting people into the journey and actually being able to climb with them was the best way that we could engage them. They would in turn, they would really, it was just more traction for us because more and more people were a part of it as a result. So a lot of the work was done before and then during, and now this, of course, afterwards. So that was the best way that we thought that we could create, again, coming back to how do we fill the gap of the poker tournament as quickly as possible. That was kind of what we came up with.
Oh my gosh. So we knew the mission of this trip. What was the mission? Is making Save the First Child, was that aligned with this mission? Was it strictly to bring awareness? Like, what are your hopes for people watching this documentary and for this film?
Oh, geez. So there were several different things that I was trying to accomplish. One was to raise awareness on a global scale, right?
Mhm.
To reach as many people as possible to talk about Duchenne. So this is an orphan disease that we're talking about, and the more and more that I go out and speak to people, no one's heard of this. So this was a way that I figured that newscasters, reporters, I have to create content for them because they need it on the news. So I figured the easiest way for me to get on the news is to create some eyebrow raising content. And when you tell someone you're going to Mount Everest, I was the fourth person to go to Mount Everest. I'm the second person from the Staten Island as a former resident to go to Mount Everest. So it's clearly not something that people do every day. So that was my first and foremost, was to raise awareness globally. Secondly was we did a push-up campaign that really is what kicked off to charity. And in 2014, I put my son on my back and I started doing push-ups and really asking people for $10 for 10 push-ups. That campaign went viral. I traveled to over 160 gyms. I went to about 46 different schools. I did them with Marines in Hawaii. I did it with a battalion of Army soldiers in Hawaii, gyms all over the world, schools in Australia, New Zealand. It was really remarkable what that did. So for me, also getting to base camp and setting a world record for children who cannot do push-ups on their own was something that I wanted to do specially for them. And also for the kids who were in these schools that we had done push-ups for, I sent them flags, 6x8 size ginormous flags, where all the kids from the high school signed, and that we took up and carried to base camp. And there's a special rock there, and the team climbed up on the rock, and with each and every flag, we took pictures for the schools back at home for them to hang in their gymnasium to remember this significant event.
Mm. And what has happened since you guys made Save the First Child? I know we're going to see it this year at Garden State Film Festival, but has it been on the news? Has other people seen this? Like, what has this documentary done so far? Has it made any differences?
So it's funny. I've been on the news for it. We spoke about it on several different news outlets, but we were asked not to allow this film to go public until it's seen at the film festival. So I respected the request, but there's a lot of people who really want to see this, and I'm excited to share it with the world. I'm proud to have this in the Garden State Film Festival, where all these eyes and actors and celebrities. I mean, I'm just amazed at how wonderful this film festival is that you guys put together. It's beautiful. I can't wait to go.
Oh, that's so amazing to hear. So we see a lot of the challenges that Jim, you went through in this documentary, that you guys all went through in this trip. I mean, obviously you're going to go through challenges to Mount Everest. Ryan, I'd love to hear from you. Being remote, you produced this, you edited it. What kind of challenges did you face and overcome being a part of this film?
Know if I want to touch that when you have guys that are going up Everest and I'm at home in you know, a warm, cozy seat editing their content, watching. I mean, yeah, you're not gonna, if I'm complaining, I think it's gonna fall on deaf ears with this group of guys, because I mean, yeah, they're, and everything they do is like this. So, you know, whether it's Everest, whether it's in the desert, in middle of America, like in Utah, Arizona, you know, Australia, we've been around the world doing projects like this, and Jim, you know, he's always just pushing the limits and doing everything that he can to his first child, which is, you know, which is the inspiration behind the title of the film, because no one else is going to do it, right? So bringing it back to what the doctor said, where it was really just, they threw up their hands in the air and said, hey, just go home and love your son. You know, that's not acceptable. And so for them, they're just going to do everything they can. For me, you know, in my little way, it's nice that I'm able to do what I love to do, which is to tell stories, which is to be creative, which is to films up in a beautiful way, hopefully that people receive it, and then it, you know, inspire them to take action to help raise awareness and to get behind this really powerful cause.
Absolutely. I could talk to you guys all day. I fortunately can't, but I can't wait for people to see this at Garden State Film Festival, and I can't wait to see this go global and get even bigger after it is premiered at New Jersey. And thank you for waiting to do that. But I want to definitely ask you, oh man, this is so great. I don't even remember what I was going to say, but basically, Jim, how can we help? I mean, we can come see Save the First Child, but what else can we do to spread awareness, to help this amazing, to just help?
Well, after the film is out, if everybody could please share it, and or go to jarofhope.org. We actually have a monthly campaign right now that we're trying to get 100 people to get behind, and just donate $4 a month. That's it. We're asking for 13 cents a day because my son was diagnosed in the 13th year. And if you can donate 13 cents a day, $4 a month, get behind this. We're hoping that with 100 people, we can fund or make payments for a wheelchair accessible van for people, because we're finding out $400 a month is what the car payment is. So it's a very simple way to make a huge impact, to make a change in people's lives until we can find a cure for this disease. So thank you very much, Sophia. Thank you to the Garden State Film Festival and everybody behind it for giving us this opportunity, this platform to speak about Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much. That was the perfect way to end this. So I should stop talking, but I'm still talking. Jarofhope.org, right?
Jarofhope.org.
Jarofhope.org, $4 a month. That is nothing compared to what you could be doing to these lives and to help. So I know I'll be visiting that. Guys, also visit www.gsff.org to get your, no, that's not I am all clamped. gsff.org/tickets. Visit that to get your tickets to see Save the First Child. It will be screening Sunday, March 24th. The film block starts at 12:15 at Berkeley Hotel. Get your tickets. Come check it out. Visit jarofhope.org. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Jim, again, for making Save the First Child and for taking the time out to talk to us about all this amazing things. Thank you and congratulations.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful night. I'll see you at the festival.
See you there.